100% believe in Onic too.
Hey.
That's not good.
No, it's great.
That's not good.
We won a series.
If I was Sonic, I'd be shaking in my chair right now. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome you into the drafting phase here, presented to you by the Samsung Galaxy official gaming phone. It appears that Geek will have first pick and Onic on the second. So Onic, the Sky Kings, they're going to be on their comfortable spot. Do you agree with this?
For sure. Coach Yev loves that red side or the second pick. Fanny's open. Matilda is open, but they pick Fredrin first. And Matilda is banned out, but Fanny is open. They go for Rafaela.
Honestly, looking at the composition, it's going to be very interesting to see what Geek actually comes up with, because we saw before where they just protect Marquis, making sure that Marquis can carry toward the later stage of the game with that Irithel. And now with first picking the Valentina, I don't know. I kind of want to see what kind of option do they want to go for, because they tried it before. It didn't work out, but that was a best of 5. Now it's a best of 7.
But I like that you mentioned that, because a lot of casters have actually argued on that exact point. Valentina first pick, whether it will be worth it or not. I'm going to throw it over to Arashi here. Valentina first pick for Geek Fan.
Well, it seems like so far it hasn't really been the signature pick that's so costly that you have to first pick it. But Geek, they believe in it, and I think they have an expectation for Onic to have some very useful ultimates here, even though the Faramis is banned away. But for Onic, having the Rafael and Fredrin, it seems to be that high maneuver, high movement speed, roam gameplay that we're expecting, but Geek, they pick up that signature pick.
Yep. We mentioned this in the previous match. I believe it was with Lafell.
Yep.
Beloyski can play healers, but he can also play the pick-off heavy, the gamble style of play. And right now, the Ruby is what is present with a boy's signature damage shadow carry technique.
This is actually the curveball that Geek Fam did, because typically this Ruby, the Ruby, those setup heroes for Beloyski gets banned out in the second phase. So what they did is to third pick it. A very bold move, actually, if you think about it, for Geek Fam.
Honestly, based on my personal analysis, watching whenever Geek Fam, having Beloyski using something like a Ruby did come up way earlier compared to when he's using a healer, right? At least the impact is way different, especially based on yesterday's match. Whenever the Ruby is there, their rotation moving S4 is much earlier. I would say between the first and second turtle, that is where they get the most aggressive, the most offensive.
They play around the neutral objectives, but for Onic, they've been able to actually dismantle that by picking an assassin with a lot of mobility. You're trying to stick together, they go and pull you apart before going for the objectives, and even then, they didn't go straight for the objectives, they go for the kills first, and then they get that guaranteed pickoff.
But with this Novaria being banned out now for Geek, what does this signal? Does it have any clues as to where they're going with this composition?
Yeah, they just want to win the mid lane, because that's Novaria as well as Lilia maybe are the two heroes that's left for Sans to win versus this Valentina.
If they win the mid lane, for the side of Onic, they need to find something else here. They either double down on the mid lane pressure to try to counteract that, or they get a strong side XP, put the Fredrin in the jungle for the strong side jungle as well, control these neutral objectives through the top side of the map.
That means Uranus Arterizda as their pick, I would say. But specifically this fourth slot for Coach Eb, what they want to do is to still apply pressure so that they'll have a good last pick for Sans.
Here it is, the Lancelot last ban coming in from Geek, denying that away from Onic. Maybe trying to push it in, the Fredrin into the jungle, but Ford now being picked up. That's a lot of backline pressure. Can Geek Fam solve it here in the two picks that they are going to be able to pick up?
I would say, honestly, the Gort pick, I think, is actually low-key genius here, because the Novaria, one of the things that is strong about the Novaria is the turtle control, because you can provide vision and quite a lot of damage with the first kill, but the Gort can more or less do the same thing in terms of the control. Maybe not the vision, but the control and damage, I would say the Gort can do it just as well.
Yeah, the Gort is traditionally the answer to the Valentina, too.
Oh, wait, that's interesting. I just remembered. This is actually a really good fun fact. This is kind of a rematch from MPLI last year. 493,920 minutes. This is the total amount of minutes from the last encounter of both of these teams when competing in the grand final of MPLI 2022. But during that time, That was a 4-0 for Onic.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was a 2-0 start into a full reverse sweep for Onic.
Oh, really?
It was that close. Geek fam were able to utilize the crash meta back in the day with Gushin still in the fray. Well, what did you call it? The crash, the burst meta?
The lethal burst
The
meta.
lethal burst meta, the LBM, and right now for Geek fam, it's kind of a mix of that. It's kind of like a reflection of that. They want to go for these big fights with some single target damage, but also some proper good AoE CC to back them up. What do Onic need to do to complete their drafts?
I think the mobility is definitely a big factor, and they need to try and find ways to avoid being captured right here, because with all the crowd control, the heavy spin, the Paquito, the carry with the true damage as well, it's a lot of dangers, but they go for a very interesting pick right there. I think it can work, but it depends on the movement in the map, and especially in the early game.
Yeah, Dyrov last pick. Usually we see that being as a counter towards the Uranus, but here, what do you guys think about what we're seeing from both of the teams?
They want to amplify their killing potential for Onic, and Zeroth is going to be used in combination with the Cloud because of the minus armor.
I don't know, for me it's always Onic. I'm all for Onic the entire series. Don't even need to ask, man.
It's going to be Onic 4-0, right, Lafell? 4-0 to Onic is Lafell and Mirko's prediction.
That's got me worried. That's got me worried, and I'm pretty sure Onic are shaking. As ladies and gentlemen, we see the wings flapping in the background as we bring you into the land of Dawn for the first game in this best of 7 series. The Sky Kings are looking to complete their three-peat. But here, Geek fam are looking to overtake the throne. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into it.
The Kings have descended from the skies.
The land of Dawn, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, we get to see a sneak peek as to what already elapsed here in the first 40 seconds of the game.
Here it is, the land of Dawn. 46 seconds in already. Anything interesting in the emblem department? Oh, wow. An early win for Marquee on this winning matchup.
Look at something interesting. I think the Purify on CW is almost a given at this point. But San's going with the Flicker. This is his signature style. He's on an immobile mage, but he likes making those flashy plays. He likes going for the Mythic Gush and then flickering forwards. That's his style, but look at Beloyski, already targeted by Onic as always.
A good stun over. It's not a Beloyski game without 2 deaths at the minimal. A boy prevents that from happening, and Onic will be able to get control over the enemy jungle.
I can see a lot of emphasis here in the rotations towards the gold lane. Why do you think this is?
Because the gold lane is just so important. Marquee is one of the main win conditions, and in the previous few crazy series he's been averaging like 2 or 3 deaths a game, in a game that can trail all the way to like 20 minutes. So I think that is a safe bet, and they can get CW ahead right here. Then the matchup becomes a bit easier for him as well, because there's that true damage, and in the 1v1 duel, the win of nature becomes something that we've already been talking about when it comes to a 1v1 gold laner duel.
But in the early game, is it a carry or a Claude winning that matchup?
I have to say, I think the carry will win it, especially in an all-in. If you can force a Claude, especially on a Purify, to just engage in that fight, it's going to be dangerous, but Keyboy.
Good knockup by Nile, forcing that Flicker out. Onic versus Geek. It's a 3v4 right now, but it's a FA spin now pinning them down, and it should be a free retry as Nile picks it up. Below him, he tosses it up as Luke goes into the back. Keyboy very low, no flicker. A boy with a good splash of damage, picking one up, and now they're caught in the midst of Onic. Kyrie and Boots will pin a boy down to secure another. It's 2 kills traded in for 1 kill and a neutral objective. Meanwhile, up top, blazing the web. Marquee taking very low under the turret, and CW takes a win.
Man, that's aggressive plays from both teams. But then we see it again. If Onic can outmaneuver and then go in and out of a fight, that's where they can get ahead. Geek fam with the signature, with the superior burst will be a lot more dangerous as we take a look at the talent's predictions here, especially from our foreign guests.
Oh, but in Indonesia, it's full Geek fam here. A unanimous vote in that regard. Back to the game though. With that being said, oh, wait a minute. Okay, some damage being put on to a boy here in the mid lane. But with Kyrie and Nile, what's the game plan for Onic? Because earlier on, Mirko mentioned that when they go in for neutral objectives, Nile on the Akai surely has a little bit of an advantage because of that heavy spin.
I think they go straight for the neutral objective contest without fighting. Nile can definitely come out ahead. But with Onic having Kyrie in quote-unquote combo with Boots, that's a lot of damage that I think most people won't really expect coming in from the Fredrin. Because you're so used to seeing him doing damage without the addition of that physical defense shred. So Onic, I think, has to find catches, but now Keyboy.
Good baptism by both, but now it's a knockup, and I'm offended. Voloisky picks up the kill to equalize the kill stat in the 3rd minute of the game. Onic still holding on to that gold lead for now.
Looking at the gold differences by Ube as gold right here. Still pretty equal, but in the EXP lane, that's where our eyes are in. It's still only 100k gold, so I mean, 100 gold, not 100k. But
that's a lot.
They're trying to just equalize, but I think with Sans having the Ice Queens one now, this means that now Geek needs to be a bit more careful in their pathing and where they're trying to cross to try and find pickups.
That's some good poke, man. A Mystic Gush and a taunt from Kyrie to lock them down just for a bit. Niall with the heavy spin a bit late though. Now the baptism and it's CW with the blazing duet to pick it up. Beloy running away. I'm offended connecting onto CW, but he has a BMI placed defensively. Meanwhile, Keyboy has to flicker out, but Marky follows through as well. Holy baptism, one more shot, but it's Kyrie still with the retreat, who secures it, jumps in onto Luke. Now dealing some damage as Luke jumps in as well. It's just a quick knockout strike as he clears the mid lane to provide a boy with some assistance.
Now that was initiated preferably from Geek Fam, and that's what we were talking about in terms of neutral objective take, right? Because flat out, it feels like Niall has a little bit more of an advantage than Kyrie, but this is the results that we're given. Onic, they have been able to make things messy, they've been able to make things a little bit more in favor of them, and now Kyrie is actually a level ahead, and Niall just secured that level 8.
So what important to know here is it's the golden advantage. You see action in the EXP as well. Onic trying to use that movement speed, try and gank as many lanes, swing it in their favor. But for Geek Fam, I think the main issue here is Niall is the main front line, but also the main contestant for the neutral objective. We're seeing this trend where the Akai moves forward, has the heavy spin, but is going to be forced to burn it out or even get picked off before the objective is even low enough to contest. Geek Fam must find a way to try and get in that zone without really sacrificing too much HP from Niall or Beloisky.
Audience prediction though by the Samsung Galaxy S23 Series 5G still heavily favors Onic for this particular game. And here it is. Are they going to go for something here? It turns out they won't.
Nope, still too slow. No neutral objective for both these teams. They center around those neutral objectives. That gourd for mid-clear, and obviously Fredrin on the hands of Kyrie. Same thing goes for Geek Fam with that Akai. Voloisky is looking for a gank in the bottom lane where Boots is very immobile, has the flicker, gets out. But it's a big resource spent. 18 seconds before the turtle spawns.
Without the flicker available, it's going to be a bit difficult for Boost to find ways to get in there or be aggressive enough without a way out. But Onic, they're putting their attention on the top side, putting Kibo there, perhaps to trap Luke. Might just work out, but it's a Paquito on a sprint, it's on a cooldown. But the Quantum Charge here can allow him to move a lot faster, and everyone's just parading away down to the turtle pit.
Ooh, an aggressive heavy spin. That is a very costly mistake if it doesn't work out. Boost gets brought back to the team. The Mystic Gush stolen away. A boy now melting it down. I'll cancel out with Mystic Gush and Blazing do it to the back line. And it's even a taunt. A big one for Onic. Kyrie picks up the double, but Niall picks up the turtle. Now it's Marky in the bush, getting out. Luke trying to run away, but Kyrie stops that dash from happening. Able to just get out from a different wave. And it's Geek Fam with, Niall almost just assassinating CW there in the mid lane.
That was nearly a worth it trade, 2-2 if they were able to get that pick onto CW. But face value is it was a 2-1 plus Geek Fam was still able to secure the turtle. This was Niall a level below of Kyrie.
That's the Akai power, but it's also because the Onic was focusing more on going for those kills. I mean, I have no idea how Sans even survived that. Moving so aggressively on a gourd, but then slipping right past, right point blank to Geek Fam's members, and still coming out unscathed. Voloisky with the I'm offended though will not be able to find Keyboy, and his positioning in this game has been so good. No one has been able to get to him without really exerting some kind of resource.
But now it's a slow game again. Both these teams will always only fight for neutral objectives unless they see someone overextend, overcommit. The highest level of MLBB in Indonesia right now, and this is what you're watching.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone is just, they understand the stakes. They understand. Both teams, Onic want to keep their kingdom going. They want to keep their dynasty alive. But here, Geek, they're looking to threaten that. But Onic, at this point, 8 minutes in, still a 1K gold lead.
Rashi, it almost feels like the 1,000 gold lead in these matches, even yesterday, feels like not a gold lead. Almost every time you have a gold lead, you're going to lose it.
I think the execution really evens it out. in these games, in this matchup especially, if you're gonna have a gold lead and want to brag about it, I think it has to be at least 1.5 to 2k gold. CW though taken very low, but with the flash of the Oasis completed, Keyboy is going to be such a nuisance to the burst-heavy composition from Geek Fam. Below 20%, you get a big shield, and Keyboy always going to be around.
A boy just got picked off. That's a mega kill for Kyrie. 4th kill in this game, and it's Sans who provided that damage. Onic are going straight for the Lord, and Geek Fam might not be able to contest for this, but they're looking for a CW. No Purify, but is able to escape with the BMI right now as a Holy Baptism connects onto Beloy. CW jumps back, dealing a bit more damage. Sans with the burn. That's the glowing wand dealing the damage, but it's not enough. Marquis put some damage back. Now it's Niall in the midst against Kyrie. Pops in a heavy spin right now, but the Lord is not low enough. They're looking for it. They're looking to burst it down. Niall will fall before he even can go for that retry battle, and it's Kyrie who secures it with the retry.
That's a 2,400 gold lead instantly secured by Onic in the 9th minute of the game. Beautifully executed, and the cool thing about this particular game is this is Keyboy Onic, a Rafaela of all heroes. You wouldn't say that this is particularly adjacent to his style, to his identity, and yet he's still really good at the cover, and he's also really good at the initiation.
That's the crazy part. I think Onic knows that Geek Fam is expecting the crazy Keyboy plays. He's playing a Rafaela, and he's counter-engaging. Every time Niall comes in with a heavy spin, he gets Holy Blessinged. And then Luke as well earlier. Seems like Onic are just playing reactively, trying to make sure that Geek Fam are the ones overextending to try and secure the neutral objective, like we saw earlier. But without the right scouting, without the right intelligence, they can't really get in the right moments, and Onic is baiting them using that fact.
And it was just so perfectly timed, right? Even Miracle mentioned earlier on that 1k gold lead that Onic was able to build feels still like a stalemate, and yet just that entire momentum shifted into the hands of the Sky Kings, the Yellow Porcupines, and one by one, these turrets are going to fall from Geek Fam.
Ooh, Luke's doing a good amount of damage, but CW is dealing more. They even commit the Mystic Gush, a bit of overkill, but when you have a 5,000 gold lead, you can afford it. Beloy is offended. He brings Keyboy back with the healing from that photo, and the Holy Healing grants him all the HP back to get the trade back, turn it around onto Beloy.
2-0.
That was crazy. The pre-placement on the field by Sans as well to predict where Beloy is trying to escape to. This man on the gourd is just something else, man. It doesn't operate like the usual gourd you see. It's aggressive, but somehow it's always out of reach.
So what's the plan here? What's the plan, right? Because at this point, every time they go in for team fights, it doesn't appear that anyone can actually dive into the back line and cut the range that Onic has short because of that gourd. Whose job is it to go to the back line, and how do they do it?
I think Luke definitely is the main contender, but actually a boy can do so as well. Technically, the whole comp from Geek Fam do really well when they're not exactly in a complete front to back. The short range of the carry means that CW technically has more AoE, but if they can really find ways to get in the back line and utilize the crowd control efficiently, that could be the way they can do it, but they have to try and farm up and equalize the gold difference first, because at 6k, that is starting to be too much for execution and micro plays to be able to equalize.
They're really just forced to turtle in their own base. There's not much they can even do in their own jungle here. Niall has to walk up and open it up for the team. And by doing that, he's already risking his life. He's a level below of Kyrie. Sure, more neutral objectives so far, but Onic have more structures. They can play the map, they can poke. Geek Fam and Beloyski going for that signature game-changing play. Not too sure if that will work out for them here, as they have gone to the complete opposite side of where Onic are residing in.
They don't see him. The only... Sans knows what they're doing. Look at the way that Onic have actually responded to that, despite them in the unknown.
Oh, what an insight from Sans there, but now Kyrie tries to capitalize on it.
That's a big taunt onto Beloyski. CW with some follow-up there, and a Mystic Gush just melts him away. Luke is forced to pop the sprint defensively, and it's all Onic in the 13th minute of the game. CW blazing to the front, dodging everything, and now onto Marquet. CW in a 1v3 forces the heavy spin, and a boy gets executed by Gila Sans.
Obliterated. This is just a different level coming in from Onic here in game number 1 of this best of 7 series. And even though we see on the skill board 411, look at all the kills that were taken by Geek Fam. It's only onto Boots, it's only onto Keyboy. Sans and CW, the two anchors of damage coming in from the Yellow Porcupines, still remain untouched at this point of the game.
And that's with Sans just flickering aggressively yet again in the previous fight. Just the movement and the predictions here, but Voloisky with the conceal, Wolf of Boots.
Good pickoff onto Boots. The fadeaway should kill him, and yes, it does. That's a kill over to Marquis. Something they desperately need was a glimpse of hope, and that's a glimpse of brilliance that they just got.
Now here it is, Wind of Nature finally secured in by Marquis. Is this something that they need at this point?
Well, there's a lot of magical damage on the side of Onic as well, though. As well as true damage coming in from forward. So Marquis will be a bit more safe, but he needs to still be careful as Beloy gets taken out.
Heck, a defensive item for Marquis. What about Voloisky? Oh my god, it's Niall finding the back, but it's the holy baptism to cancel it out. CW! Once again with a blazing duet, just takes them out in the back. And the executor will never be CW. It will be Keyboy and Sans, and now
Luke?
even one more. Keyboy flickering forward, basic attacking. Luke able to escape, but Keyboy is the executioner. Sans again with a Mystic Gush and a stun onto Niall. Kyrie dashing forward, the base wide open. In the 14th minute of the game, that's a two-man stun. That's an Appraiser's Wrath, and it's CW who is unstoppable. The mid wave's crashing in. Voloisky looking for a miracle play. CW onto the base, the baptism connecting. No minions right now. They have cleared it, but Beloy falls once again. It's Marquis caught in the laser beam. And it's Onic dismantling, deteriorating, obliterating Geek Fam in game 1.
The Sky Kings, they're gonna lead the series, this best of 7 series 1-0. And we're gonna call our analysts, our shadows. Ring, ring, ring. Phone a friend. Wolf, LaFell. What was that?